China, a nation with a history as vast as its landmass, carries with it a weight of legacy and ambition. This vision, often unspoken but deeply ingrained, envisions a China at the center of its own universe, a dominant power radiating influence and control over a significant swathe of Asia. This isn't merely about redrawing lines on a map, it's about reclaiming what many in China perceive as their historical and rightful sphere of influence. As China flexes its newfound muscles on the world stage, its neighbors watch with a mixture of awe and apprehension. The question arises, is China's pursuit of national rejuvenation simply about economic prosperity? Or does it harbor a deeper desire to reshape the geopolitical landscape in its favor? The roots of China's vision of a greater China run deep, entangled with its history, culture, and sense of self. For centuries, China viewed itself as the Middle Kingdom, the cultural and economic center of the known world. This worldview was reinforced by the tributary system, where neighboring states paid tribute to the Chinese emperor, acknowledging his supremacy and China's central role in the region. Maps from Chinese history textbooks often depict vast swathes of territory, including areas currently within the borders of neighboring countries, as historically belonging to China. These maps, though often dismissed as relics of the past, offer a glimpse into the enduring power of historical narratives in shaping China's present-day ambitions. Understanding the historical underpinnings of China's vision of a greater China is essential for deciphering its actions on the world stage today. The echoes of history reverberate through China's contemporary foreign policy, particularly in its approach to territorial disputes. The assertion of historical claims, often based on interpretations of ancient maps and treaties, has become a recurring theme in China's interactions with its neighbors. These claims are not merely academic exercises, they are often accompanied by concrete actions, including military deployments, economic pressure, and assertive diplomatic maneuvers. The South China Sea dispute, where China claims sovereignty over almost the entire maritime region, exemplifies the potent mix of history, nationalism, and strategic calculations driving China's assertive posture. This dispute, with its overlapping territorial claims and vast reserves of natural resources, has become a focal point of geopolitical tensions in the region. As China continues to rise, the world watches anxiously, wondering if the shadow of history will lead to cooperation or conflict. The disintegration of the Qing dynasty marked a turning point in China's history. Foreign powers carved up spheres of influence, fueling resentment and a yearning for past glory. The Chinese Communist Party, founded in 1921, envisioned a strong, unified China. Mao Zedong promised national rejuvenation and the restoration of China's borders. The People's Republic of China in 1949 marked the end of civil war and foreign intervention. Mao Zedong, the architect of modern China, played a pivotal role in shaping the country's contemporary territorial ambitions. His vision of a greater China extended beyond merely securing the nation's borders. It encompassed a broader sphere of influence, encompassing territories historically claimed by China or areas with significant ethnic Chinese populations. In 1950, barely a year after the communist victory, Chinese troops marched into Tibet, effectively annexing a region that had enjoyed centuries of de facto independence. The Sino-Indian War of 1962 further underscored Mao's willingness to use military force to pursue China's territorial objectives. This victory, celebrated in China as a symbol of the nation's resurgent power, cast a long shadow over Sino-Indian relations, laying the groundwork for future tensions. Mao's legacy is complex and contested, fueling regional instability and complicating China's relationships with its neighbors. The Century of Humiliation, a period spanning from the mid-19th to the mid-20th centuries, left deep scars on the Chinese psyche. This era, marked by foreign incursions, unequal treaties, and internal turmoil, continues to shape China's worldview and its approach to international relations. The narrative of victimhood and humiliation, carefully cultivated by the CCP, has become a powerful tool for mobilizing public support and justifying assertive foreign policy actions. The Opium Wars fought between China and Great Britain in the mid-19th century are often cited as the starting point of this period of national humiliation. The century of humiliation ended with the communist victory in 1949, but its legacy continues to resonate. The wounds of the past run deep, shaping China's perception of its place in the world and its determination to never again be subjected to such humiliation. The death of Mao Zedong in 1976 ushered in a new era in China. Under the leadership of Deng Xiaoping, China embarked on a path of economic reform and opening up, unleashing unprecedented economic growth and transforming the country into a global economic powerhouse. This economic miracle, however, has had profound geopolitical implications, providing China with the means and the confidence to pursue its territorial ambitions with renewed vigor. Deng Xiaoping famously advised China to hide your strength, bide your time, a strategy that guided China's foreign policy in the early years of its economic reform. However, as China's economic and military might grew, so too did its assertiveness on the world stage. China's economic resurgence has fueled its territorial assertiveness, emboldening it to adopt a more proactive approach to resolving long-standing disputes. The towering peaks of the Himalayas have become a flashpoint for territorial disputes and military tensions. The legacy of the 1962 war continues to cast a long shadow over bilateral relations. Both countries have increased their military presence along the disputed border. At the heart of the dispute lies the Aksai Chin region, controlled by China but claimed by India. The unresolved border dispute has led to frequent standoffs and skirmishes. The Taiwan Strait, a narrow body of water separating mainland China from the island of Taiwan, is arguably the most volatile flashpoint in the Asia-Pacific region. For China, Taiwan is a renegade province that must be reunified with the mainland by force if necessary. For Taiwan, a vibrant democracy of 23 million people, the prospect of unification under communist rule is anathema. China has intensified its military pressure on Taiwan in recent years, conducting frequent military exercises near the island and sending warplanes across the median line of the Taiwan Strait. These actions are widely seen as a deliberate attempt to intimidate Taiwan and signal China's resolve to prevent the island from formally declaring independence. The United States, while officially adhering to a one China policy, has committed to providing Taiwan with the means to defend itself. The Taiwan Strait remains a powder keg, a potential trigger for a conflict that could draw in the United States and other major powers, with catastrophic consequences. The South China Sea, a vital waterway, is the epicenter of China's maritime ambitions and regional tensions. China claims almost the entire sea, overlapping with several Southeast Asian countries' claims. China's actions, including building artificial islands, have been met with international condemnation. In 2016, an international tribunal ruled against China's expansive claims. Beyond the big three, other territorial disputes and assertions. China has other territorial disputes and assertive behaviors that have raised concerns among its neighbors. One notable example is the dispute over the Senkaku Diaoyu Islands in the East China Sea. China has increased its Coast Guard presence near the islands, leading to confrontations with Japanese vessels. China has also become more assertive in the Himalayas, particularly along its borders with Bhutan and Nepal. Section 1. The Dragon's Arsenal: Tools of Territorial Expansion. China's territorial ambitions employ military might, economic leverage, diplomatic maneuvering, and information warfare. This comprehensive national power allows China to apply pressure on multiple fronts. The most visible tool is its rapidly modernizing military. The People's Liberation Army has transformed, projecting power far beyond its borders. Military modernization gives China the means to assert its claims and deter challenges. China employs strategies that blur the lines between peace and conflict. Paramilitary forces assert claims in disputed waters without full-blown confrontation. Grey zone warfare allows China to test adversaries and shift the status quo. China's approach also relies on economic statecraft. Economic incentives and punishments achieve political goals, Checkbook diplomacy rewards allies and punishes challengers, especially in Southeast Asia. Section 2. The military muscle, modernization and expansion. China's military modernization is one of the most significant geopolitical developments of the 21st century, transforming the People's Liberation Army into a formidable fighting force. This military build-up has not gone unnoticed by China's neighbors. The People's Liberation Army's modernization is comprehensive, acquiring aircraft carriers, destroyers and submarines, projecting power far into the Pacific and Indian Oceans. The People's Liberation Army Air Force has also undergone significant modernization. China's military modernization extends beyond hardware. These capabilities have significantly enhanced its ability to deter potential adversaries. China's economic rise has provided it with a powerful tool for advancing its geopolitical objectives. China uses its economic clout to reward allies and punish challengers. The Belt and Road Initiative connects China to Europe, Africa, and Southeast Asia. Many see it as a way to expand China's geopolitical influence. Critics face economic retaliation, affecting free speech and academic freedom. In Southeast Asia, China's economic statecraft is particularly effective. China's pursuit of its territorial ambitions extends beyond hard power, encompassing a sophisticated information warfare campaign. This campaign shapes narratives, influences public opinion, and undermines adversaries' legitimacy. Domestically, China censors dissenting voices and promotes a narrative of historical injustice. This narrative legitimizes its actions and garners support for assertive policies. Internationally, China expands its media presence and promotes a positive image, establishing Confucius Institutes and engaging in public relations campaigns. These efforts influence public opinion and counter negative Western propaganda. China's information warfare targets domestic audiences of adversaries, sowing discord. By disseminating propaganda, China undermines trust in democratic institutions. This multi-pronged offensive shapes the information environment and advances China's geopolitical agenda. India, a rising power, watches China's assertiveness in the Himalayas with increasing alarm. The legacy of the 1962 war, a humiliating defeat, fuels deep mistrust of China's intentions. India has bolstered its military presence along the disputed border, strengthened alliances with countries wary of China's rise, and pushed back against perceived Chinese encroachment. Under Prime Minister Modi, India has modernized its armed forces, particularly in the Himalayas. New mountain strike corps have been established, trained for high-altitude warfare. India invests in border infrastructure, building roads, bridges, and airfields for rapid troop deployment. India strengthens strategic partnerships, with the Quad gaining prominence in response to China's assertiveness. India deepens defense cooperation with France and Israel, diversifying its sources of arms and technology. India reduces economic dependence on China, promoting domestic manufacturing and attracting foreign investment. Taiwan, an island democracy of 23 million people, sits at the forefront of the geopolitical rivalry between China and the United States. Caught between a powerful China and a supportive United States, Taiwan treads a delicate diplomatic tightrope. Taiwan's strategic predicament is complicated by its economic dependence on mainland China. China is Taiwan's largest trading partner, giving China significant leverage. Despite these challenges, Taiwan has shown resilience and determination. Under President Tsai Ing-wen, Taiwan focuses on military modernization to deter a Chinese invasion. Taiwan seeks to strengthen international partnerships with the US, Japan, and other democracies. Taiwan's strategy hinges on maintaining a delicate balance. Southeast Asia, a region of strategic importance at the crossroads of major maritime trade routes, has become a focal point of geopolitical competition between China and the United States. The region's diverse economies and proximity to key waterways like the South China Sea have made it a battleground for influence. China's growing assertiveness in the South China Sea has raised concerns among its Southeast Asian neighbors. Countries like Vietnam, the Philippines, and Malaysia fear China's actions could undermine their sovereignty. Despite these concerns, Southeast Asian countries have been reluctant to take sides. They are economically dependent on China, while also relying on the United States for security. This has led to a delicate balancing act, seeking to maintain close ties with both. China's rise as a global power has presented both opportunities and challenges for the existing international order. China's economic growth has lifted millions out of poverty and contributed to global technological advancements. However, its assertive foreign policies and human rights record raise concerns about its commitment to international norms. The international community struggles to find an effective strategy for dealing with a rising China. Some countries fear economic retaliation, while others call for a robust response. Multilateral institutions like the UN and WTO are key in managing the relationship with China. These platforms offer dialogue and cooperation, but China's influence raises concerns about their effectiveness. The path chosen will shape global governance, security, and power balance in the 21st century. China's relentless pursuit of its Greater China ambition casts a long shadow over the 21st century. The world watches with a mixture of awe and apprehension as the sleeping giant awakens with a roar. China's actions will profoundly shape the geopolitical realities of our time. The path ahead is fraught with uncertainty. Will China's rise be peaceful, marked by cooperation and mutual respect, or will it lead to conflict as China's assertiveness collides with global interests? The stakes are high for all involved. A peaceful and prosperous China would contribute to global stability and growth. However, a China imposing its will poses a grave threat to global peace and security. The world stands at a crossroads, facing a choice between accommodation and confrontation as China's power and influence grow. Finding the right balance, a strategy that safeguards national interests while avoiding conflict, is the defining geopolitical challenge. Engagement aims to integrate China into the international system, encouraging it to uphold global norms. Containment argues that China's ambitions are revisionist, aiming to establish its own hegemony. Proponents advocate for a more assertive approach, strengthening alliances and deterring China's coercive actions. A successful strategy will combine engagement and containment, recognizing China's complexity. Cooperation on shared interests like climate change and global health is key. Simultaneously, clear red lines must be drawn on core values and interests. Building a united front with allies and fostering a rules-based order is essential. The world cannot afford to get China wrong. The future of global peace hinges on managing the rise of the dragon responsibly.